Welcome and thanks for joining us for this edition of Scope. The electorate of Samarai Murua in the Milne Bay province is slowly rebuilding its key road and air transport infrastructures to bring vital services to the electorate. Recently, flights have resumed on the island of Misima, which has brought much relief to the traveling public who have had to depend much on sea travel, a dangerous and expensive exercise for the people of Samarai Murua. Sea piracy has become rampant in the electorate due to the absence of police presence, who are limited in their operations.
Samarai Murua is the largest electorate in the Milne Bay province with its LLGs all spread out. A maritime electorate is surrounded by the Solomon Sea in the north and the Coral Seas further south. Locals depend highly on sea travel to access goods and services. Local member and Minister for Tourism Issy Henry Leonard says it is a logistical nightmare. Only sea and air transport modes are used on the electorate.
First threat is the weather. Weather pattern changes every now and then. Two, the vessels that are traveling, most of them are small boats and even dinghies. So that's another risk you take when you're traveling by sea. And the third one, which is very common, the sea pirates. Sea pirates are always preying on people traveling on unsafe boats and even canoes. And they prey on them and they hold them up whilst at sea. And they take everything out, even stealing the outboard motors from the dinghies. And a lot of people were victims of the sea piracy, criminal activity on the waters of Samarai Murua. Particularly where the harbour is, the Milne Bay mouth is at Kanakope Point. That is where it is a common place where they strike the boats that are passing through. So that's a threat. When we come to logistics, it's very difficult. You can get cargoes from Alatau, put them on a small boat. When we're exiting out from the bay mouth, sea pirates will board the boat and they will loot everything. It occurred so many times. In my district, those are the challenges I face every now and then when I'm delivering services. And cost of hiring barge and even boat is very expensive. It will be more appropriate that we hire a bigger vessel to load everything than to charter a small boat that will make a number of trips. So it's a very big challenge. So I've been advocating in Parliament that through government caucus that we should now look at those very isolated areas and factor in additional funding to cover for their costs. Because all of us, all the districts are given one similar amount of funding. For instance, Mosby Northwest is given 8 or 10 mil per year. Samarai will receive 8 or 10 mil per year. But when it comes to delivery, especially logistics, I pay more. And in Port Moresby, very minimal costs. So I see this as, we need to factor in those, what we call logistic costs.
Sea piracy is a continuous concern for the traveling public. With limited policing available to operate on the open waters, many have fallen victim. Efforts have also been made by the district authorities with the purchase of 2 boats distributed to the police for patrolling.
It's 275 horsepower outboard motors presented to the police last year. And I am currently, since last year and previously, trying to purchase proper patrol boat so that we can do water policing and even do other surveillance work or even medevac and other important, even rescue, search and rescue. But we don't have that vessel. We don't have that kind of boat. So in my district, I found out that this must be my priority. I've already appropriated 1.7 million to purchase a proper boat from Australia that we can use it for patrolling in the area. The reason why sea piracy is very, very rampant in the provinces because the absence of water policing. Once you have water policing on the waters, in the waters of Milne Bay, then the sea pirates will now subside their activities. In so many instances where sea piracy is the issue, we lack witnesses, and those culprits are released, and they go back and continue to do sea piracy because of lack of prosecution. We need to work on that. We need to educate our people. We need the cooperation of our people. We need everyone to cooperate with law enforcement for successful prosecution. We never succeeded. And sea piracy carries a very heavy penalty. That's what I'm aware of. And if we can successfully prosecute one, that will now be an example to the rest of the sea pirates.
The air transport for the electorate has deteriorated over time because of negligence and also since the closure of the mines. It used to be maintained by the mining companies. In January this year, the Misima airstrip closed for 3 months after it was deemed unsafe for landing. The closure of the airport meant locals had to travel by sea to Alatau. On a good day, it should take at least a day and a half to reach Alatau, but considering its distance, it would cost around 100 kina per person. The electorate received 5 million kina funding assistance from the government to rehabilitate the airstrip and was later reopened in April. After PNG chief pilot, engineers and officers from the Milne Bay Provincial Works Department inspected the airport and had given the go-ahead for flights to resume.
The government sent in the works unit engineers to do the inspections and do some scoping works, and which they did. And they found out that we need proper drainage, we need more compaction on the surface, we need to remove the algae, and we need to widen the width of the runway to extend it out further so that the plane can turn safely. So those were some of the what I call issues were raised. And we were very fortunate because earlier this year, national government provided, gave us, appropriated to us 5 million for road, Marine road construction. So earlier, they gave us 3 million. Actually, it was given to the contractor, and the contractor was brought up with the equipment. It was very timely.
The electorate has also been given an additional 5 million kina from the government for the upgrade of the Ring Road and the Kakamua and Ayaus bridges.
Government, Marape and Marape Vessel government, for giving us 5 million for the Ring Road and 5 million for the Misima Airport. So it's very important in my time to make sure I do these things right, because they serve very important purposes for the development of the district, especially people on Misima Island and the outer islands. Bridges. Now those bridges were constructed and placed there by the Misima mines way back in the 1989, 1990, early 1990. And due to lack of, attention, due to negligence, they were left to, wear, tear, and eventually deteriorated beyond repair. So we have to remove them. So we're working towards that to build, bring in new what we call structures. We're looking at Bailey bridges to bring them in and construct the new bridge for Gulawa, Kakama, and also similarly with the Eos bridge. We put in the new Bailey bridges, and that we will purchase. And our current arrangements, we will get them in.
The Misima mine is anticipated to reopen in 2023, and the district authorities are working around the clock to improve key infrastructure for the electorate to be prepared when the mines reopen.
When we come back, nurses commended for perseverance amidst the pandemic. Welcome back. Nursing is a noble profession that touches the life of a person Nurses play a very important role in the delivery of healthcare service in every society. Every year on the 12th of May, nurses commemorate and celebrate the International Nurses Day. The day also commemorates the birthday of Florence Nightingale, the Lady of Light who brought light into the nursing career to what it is today.
Florence Nightingale was named after her birthplace, Florence, in Italy. She was born on May 12, 1820. The British nurse came to prominence while serving as a manager and trainer of nurses during the Crimean War, where she organized care for wounded soldiers. Florence is best known as the founder of modern nursing, as her experiences as a nurse during the Crimean War were foundational in her views about sanitation, and importantly, the great impact it had in the 19th and 20th century policies around proper medical care. Florence Nightingale had claimed she had called from God beginning at the age of 16, and this drove her towards alleviating people's pain through nursing.
The Secretary of War asked Nightingale to manage a group of nurses that would go treat the wounded soldiers. She agreed, and on November 4, 1854, Nightingale and 38 nurses arrived at the British camp. When they got there, the doctors were unwelcoming because they do not want to work with female nurses. However, as the number of patients increased, the doctors needed the help. The nurses brought supplies, nutritious food, cleanliness, sanitation to the military hospital. They also provided individual care and support. Nightingale was known for carrying a lamp, checking on the soldiers at the night, so they gave her the nickname, the Lady with the Lamp. Within 6 months, Nightingale and her team transformed the hospital. The death rate went down from 40% to 2% because of their work.
Nurses came in different colors, depicting the many changes in the uniforms over the years since the beginning of modern-day nursing since 1965. The day started with a march led by the police band. General Secretary for the PNG Nurses Association, Gibson Siune, talked about the important role of a nurse in the life of everyone.
They monitor the baby in the mother's womb for 9 months. Once it comes to delivery, they deliver the baby. They welcome the baby into the wall and they clean them up and dress them and bring them into the wall.
Siune said a nurse's job continues with the life journey of the baby through antenatal clinics, monitoring the health cycle into adulthood and even when they pass on.
As they grow older and when they die, we cry with them. We clean them up the way we brought them into the world and we send them to the unknown. And that makes nursing a unique profession, and we place our hands from the womb to the tomb like no other profession has ever done.
Director for Nursing at the Port Moresby General Hospital, Sister Carol Hosea, applauded nursing working under her and those around the country for the perseverance and commitment to serving amidst the COVID-19 pandemic.
Over the last year, the work you did signified your valuable contribution, and more importantly for this reason, this is the time not only to celebrate, but to say thank you to you all.
Nurses are seen as the assistants to medical officers. However, in PNG, it is usually a nurse or a community health worker who is on hand to provide health care, especially in remote rural communities.
Nursing requires strong leadership. Nurse leaders must be equipped with the knowledge, strategies, and strength to lead and manage health services into the healthier future for whole populations. We must invest in nurse leaders to enhance their contribution to health services and to participate effectively in health policy development and decision making.
Director of Medical Services at the Port Moresby General Hospital, Dr. Kone Sobi, said as a Level 7, a referral and teaching hospital, he believes it needs to have its own curriculum for both nurses as well as other medical professions.
I think in particular for nurses, because that gives them, the added power and empowerment so that they can increase their career pathway. There is a clear career pathway for nurses in this hospital, and it could be used as the hub for the national nursing teaching.
Dr. Paki Molumi, Port Moresby General Hospital CEO, promised a better career path for nurses and improved remuneration.
A voice to lead and a vision for the future healthcare. The theme plays an important role underpinning the Port Moresby General Hospital vision for providing, as we look towards providing tertiary health services to the people of this country. To ensure nurses are trained to the latest advances in nursing care and specialist nursing care, PMGH will continue to train our nurses both in the country and overseas.
After the break, PNG think tank launches key indicators to achieve universal basic education. Welcome back to Scope. The Papua New Guinea National Research Institute recently launched the report Key 2015 Indicators for Universal Basic Education in Papua New Guinea's districts and provinces. PNG's think tank says Papua New Guinea's future developments rest on the achievement of the universal basic education for all. Every citizen must have a basic education, and as a result, having the ability to read, write, and be knowledgeable about the world around them.
The National Research Institute has launched the report Key 2015 Indicators for Universal Basic Education in Papua New Guinea's districts and provinces. The report is basically to show agreement that this is how the NRI intends to report and present how schools have progressed in each province and district. There are 3 indicators that focus on the UBE plan and implementation: accessibility, retention, and examination pass rate, which illustrates the quality of learning. Schools in provinces and districts will use these indicators when collating data of how they're working towards achieving universal basic education. The 2015 Key Indicators report is from 6 years ago, with school-aged population data projected based on the 2011 PNG National Population Census data and growth rate. It defines for schools what is required in meeting government policies on education, especially universal basic education. NRI Acting Director Dr. Osborne Sanida launched the report on May 25th. He emphasized that basic education empowers every person to improve their lives. It is a bedrock for PNG's future development, and it is necessary.
It will provide a basis for all school-aged children to acquire basic knowledge and skills that are relevant to them when they return to live a rewarding life within their own communities, or to be able to continue with further education and training.
Dr. Thomas Webster, who was part of the research team that put the report together, said the indicators are simple and measurable to be followed at district and provincial levels. In terms of access rate and retention, schools will differ.
Problems and constraints will be context-specific. So what is a problem in one school might not be a problem in another school. But what it does is it points to a district and saying, you have a low retention rate. It could be a problem. Is it because of tribal fighting, or is it because of engagement in agricultural activities? Or each school, each community will respond in their own way.
Data produced using these indicators will inform decision makers on the status of UBE by districts and provinces and what each one needs to do to improve their current status. The UBE policy says every child must be enrolled in a school at the age of 6. At this point, it is the responsibility of the parent or guardian to ensure this is so. In a couple of weeks, the NRI will issue the 2019 Key Indicators report. It has been agreed that reports will be compiled and disseminated to provinces and districts every 2 years. In the 2019 report and going forward, the real comparisons begin. Schools will be able to see how well they've progressed from the data released in the 2015 report.
2019, 2021, 2023, and we start to benchmark progress and say who is improving, who is not improving, and having some form of accountability now. Our objective is to make sure that every district, every province works progressively towards achieving universal basic education. And if we can do that over a 10-year period, then we will have achieved a reasonable outcome from this project.
Dr. Webster said from the 2019 report, they will start to go out and talk to these provinces and districts and look at what the solutions might be. From the 2015 report, quality was very poor across the country. It is the same in the 2019 report.
There's a lot of work that's to be done by all authorities across the country to try to improve the quality.
The NRI will collect data from the Department of Education. Each year, the department conducts a school census where data on enrollment, teachers, teacher qualifications, and so forth is provided to the department. NRI collects this data, analyzes it, and produces the reports. Dr. Esther Lavo, a research author of the report, is keen to have all these data go online for accessibility. She said her team is working on improving data dissemination, which will include more illustrations, including graphics and maps, that will clearly identify provinces and districts so that people can see and understand what each indicator is showing.
We are still developing, and we hope to get it online at the end of this year. So we are trying to build web pages that will now link to our NRI website, that where people are knowledgeable about using internet, they can access this anyway. If we go more and be successful in illustrating this on internet, we'll do that very soon.
The research team is now collaborating well with the Department of Education to build data and promote working with education authorities in the districts to improve basic education. The team says many times statistics and data is presented at the national level and international communities, while those at the provincial and district level do not have much information about where they are and what they need to do to improve their status. With the new project and teamwork to achieve universal basic education, the focus has changed.
That ends another episode of Scope, a kind reminder to apply simple measures to prevent the transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water, cough or sneeze into your elbow, and exercise social distancing. If you are feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance.